Good day! For this episode, we will apply the things discussed in how to prepare a journal entry in simple problems. Our objectives for today are to analyze business transactions and to record the entry using a general journal. In this part, we will journalize simple problem. Cash investment by owner. So, para mapadali ang ating pag-a-analyze ng isang transaction, lagi nating iisipin na tayo mismo ang business, hindi tayo ang owner. Ibig sabihin, pag ang owner ay nagbigay ng pera sa business, ibig sabihin sa atin may pumasok na pera. So, paano natin i-record ang transaksyon ito? So, Josephine deposited 90,000 pesos for JK's consulting services. So, nag-increase ang ating cash kasi may pumasok na cash sa atin. Yun ang ilalagay natin sa debit. Kasi ang normal balance ng asset, which is ang account na gagamitin natin ng asset, ay cash. Nag-increase ang normal balance ng asset ay debit. So, pag nag-increase ang cash, ibig sabihin ito ay nasa side ng debit. Kaya ang cash natin ay nasa debit side, which is 90,000 pesos. At ano ang kabangga ng asset na ito? Which is owner's equity. Nang gagamitin nating account or description is Barretto Capital kasi si Josephine Barretto ay nag-deposit sa business ng 90,000. So, Barretto Capital under credit side, which is 90,000 pesos, ang normal balance ng owner's equity or pag nag-increase ang owner's equity, ito ay credit. What is the explanation or short explanation of this transaction? So, investment by owner kasi si Josephine ay nagbigay ng pera sa business. So, on November 6, 2020, debit side cash, credit side Barretto Capital, and 90K and 90K debit side and credit side. Dapat ang debit at credit side ay balance. Ang explanation natin dito ay investment by owner. Cash purchase of equipment. On November 7, JK's Consulting Services issued check 1001 for 10K to purchase a computer and other equipment. Here on November 7, 2020, tayo ay bumili ng computer and other equipment and nag-issue tayo ng check na 10K. Ibig sabihin, hindi ito accounts payable. It is we buy for cash. So, ito increase in asset and decrease in asset, which is ang nag-increase sa atin na equipment kasi ito yung binili natin, ito yung papasok. Ang nag-decrease sa atin ay cash kasi nagbayad tayo or naglabas tayo ng pera upang makabili ng equipment. So, debit side, equipment, 10K, and the credit side, cash, which is 10K. So, dapat balance ang debit at credit. What is the explanation here? So, purchase equipment with a check or issued check 1001. Dapat nakalagay yung check para alam na cheque ang pinangbayad natin dun sa equipment. Credit purchase of equipment. On November 10, JK's Consulting Services purchase of equipment or purchase office equipment on account for 12,000. So, kung kanina for cash or on cash natin binayaran, na nag-issue tayo ng check, ngayon, on account. Ibig sabihin, utang. So, bumili tayo ng office equipment, tapos utang iyon. So, on account. So, on November 10, meron tayong utang na pinambili natin ng equipment. So, ito ay increase in asset, increase in liabilities. So, ang nag-increase sa atin na equipment kasi may pumasok na equipment. Ang nag-increase din sa atin ay accounts payable. Kasi ang accounts payable ay utang, nagkautang tayo kaya nag-increase. So, ang normal balance ng liabilities? Ang normal balance ng liabilities ay credit. So, pag nag-increase ang liabilities, ang normal balance nito ay credit. So, kaya ang accounts payable natin dito ay nag-increase, kaya siya ay nasa credit side. So, the entry here is that equipment is on the debit side, which is 12,000, and on the credit side, we have accounts payable amounting to 12,000 pesos. So, ano ang explanation dito? Purchase equipment or purchase office equipment on account, invoice 2223 due in 60 days. Services performed for cash. Case consulting performed services for 26,000 pesos in cash. So, ang JK Consulting ay nag-perform ng service. Kapalit ng service, nakatanggap ng 26,000 pesos in cash. So, dito ay increase in asset and increase in revenue, which is ang normal balance ng revenue ay credit. So, ang cash ay nag-increase kasi may napapasok sa ating 26,000 kapalit ng service na pinerform natin. Kaya tayo nakatanggap ng cash. So, ito ay 26,000 under ng debit side and under ng credit side, which is 26,000 also, which is service revenue. So, pag tayo ay nakatanggap ng revenue from service, from we perform service, so this is called service revenue. So, anong simple explanation dito? Performed services for cash amounting to 26,000 pesos. Performed services on account. JK's Consulting performed services on account for 9,000. Nag-perform tayo ng service pero wala tayong natanggap na cash or ng bayad. Ibig sabihin, may utang sa atin yung pinag-performa natin ng service or meron tayong accounts receivable na amounting of 9,000 pesos. So, it is increase in asset and increase in revenue pa din. Kaso, may iba lang ang ating gagamiting account title ng asset. Bakit? Kasi on account siya. Ibig sabihin, hindi natin siya cash na receive. Ibig sabihin, tayo ay may marireceive or re-receivein pa lang. Or mayroon tayong accounts receivable, which is ang debit side natin ay accounts receivable amounting to 9,000 pesos kasi may accounts receivable tayo na kukunin dun sa customer kasi on account hindi tayo binayaran. Next is ang credit side naman natin ay service revenue, same as explanation kanina, walang mababago. Dun lang sa asset part. Paid salaries, paid 7,000 pesos for salaries. It is increase in expense and decrease in asset. So, ang normal balance ng expense ay debit. So, pag nag-increase ang expense, ang normal balance niya ay debit. Pag nag-decrease ang expense, ito ay magiging credit na. Ang cash ay asset, ang normal balance ng asset pag nag-increase, debit, pag nag-decrease, credit. So here, nag-increase ang salaries expense natin, kaya ito ang nasa debit side or nasa debit column, which is amounting to 7,000 kasi nagbayad tayo. So, nagkaroon tayo ng salaries expense at dahil nga nagbayad tayo, nabawasan or nag-decrease ang cash natin, which is asset, kaya ito ang nakalagay sa credit side or credit column natin, which is amounting to 7,000 pesos. So, paid monthly salaries to employees. That is the simple explanation of this transaction. Paid utility bill. Case consulting paid 500 pesos in cash for a utility bill. So, ano ba yung mga utility bill na yan? So, for example ng mga utility bill ay yung electric, natural gas, water, and waste. It is same ng kanina, increase of expense and decrease of asset. So, why? Kasi kanina naman ang ginamit ay salaries expense, ngayon naman ay utilities expense. So, ang utilities expense natin ay increase. Bakit? Kasi nga, nagbayad ng utility bill na 500 pesos, kaya ang nasa debit column natin ay amounting to 500 pesos utility expense. At ang credit naman natin ay cash kasi nga nagbayad, nabawasan ang cash natin ng 500 pesos. So, ano ang simple explanation dito? Paid monthly bills for utilities. Owner's withdrawal. The owner, Josephine Barretto, withdraw 4,000 pesos from the company. So, nag-withdraw sa atin ang owner, which is si Josephine Barretto, ng 4,000 pesos. So, the drawing is the contra accounts of owner's equity. So, ano nga? Ang normal balance ng owner's equity ay credit. Pag nag-increase ang credit, ibig sabihin, ang owner's equity ay nasa credit. At pag nag-decrease naman ang owner's equity, ito ay nasa debit. Pero, ang drawing kasi is contra account of owner's equity. Kaya, ang increase na drawing ay under ng debit at ang decrease ng drawing naman ay under ng credit kasi contra account siya ng owner's equity. So, Barretto drawing, so increase siya kasi nagkaroon ng drawing ang owners, so amounting to 4,000 pesos under ng debit side, and the cash, so nagbawas kasi tayo ng cash, kaya ito ay nasa credit side. Nag-decrease ang cash natin kasi nagbigay tayo ng 4,000 pesos kay Josephine Barretto kasi siya ay nag-withdraw. So, ang simple explanation dito is that owner withdraw cash for personal expenses. Check 1008. Cash purchase of supplies. So, on November 28, JK's Consulting Services purchase supplies for 3,000. Check 1002. So, here, we've purchased supplies. So, pumasok sa atin ay supplies on cash kasi nag-issue tayo ng check na 1002 amounting to 3,000 pesos. So, it is increase in asset and decrease in asset. So, supplies under ng debit amounting to 3,000 pesos and cash naka-indented, may indention. So, cash under ng credit which is 3,000 pesos. So, the simple or the explanation here is that purchase supplies issued check 1002. Payment to a creditor. On November 30, JK's Consulting Services paid office plus 5,000 in partial payment of invoice 2223 check 1003. So dito, noong November 10, ang JK's Consulting Services ay may accounts payable na 12,000. This November 30, nagbayad ang JK Consulting Services ng 5,000 partial payment dun sa utang niyang 12,000 na nag-issue ng cheque 1003. So, dito, mababawasan ang accounts payable ng JK Consulting Services ng 5,000 kasi magbabayad siya ng 5,000. Ito ay decrease in liabilities and decrease in cash. So, paano natin to i-record? So, ang debit side natin ay accounts payable. Bakit? Kasi nag-decrease. So, ang normal balance ng accounts payable ay credit pag ito ay nag-increase, at pag nag-decrease ang accounts payable, ito ay mapapapunta sa debit side. Kaya dito, ang accounts payable natin ay nasa under ng debit side, which is amounting to 5,000 pesos kasi ang JK Consulting Services ay nag-issue ng cheque upang mabayaran ang utang nito amounting of 5,000 pesos. Under ng credit side naman ay cash. Bakit? Kasi tayo ay magbabayad, maglalabas tayo ng pera, kaya tayo nag-issue ng cheque para mabayaran yung ating accounts payable. Pero yun ay partial payment pa lang kasi 12K talaga yung utang natin, which is mababawasan lang ng 5K yung 12K kasi partial payment pa lang siya. So, ang matitirang utang natin ay 7,000. So, ano ang simple explanation dito? Paid partial payment to office plus the invoice 2223 check 1003. Recording prepaid rent. On November 30, JK's Consulting Services wrote check 1004 for 7,000 to prepay rent for December and January. So, November pa lang ngayon. So, this month, November, for example, November pa lang ngayon, pero next month, December, tapos next year and January, for the month of January, binayaran na agad natin yung rent. So, ibig sabihin, tayo ay may prepaid rent. So, ang prepaid rent ay under ng asset. Prepaid rent account is under of asset, which is ito ay increase in asset, decrease in asset. Why? Kasi meron tayong prepaid rent, na yun yung ating debit, under ng debit side, which is amounting to 7,000, and ang nag-decrease sa ating asset ay ang cash, which is amounting to 7,000 under ng credit side kasi naglabas tayo ng cash para mabayaran yung rent, yung prepaid rent na meron tayo. So, ano ang simple explanation dito? Paid December and January rent in advance. So, nag-issue tayo ng cheque na 1004 para mabayaran ang rent for December and January. That we call it prepaid rent. That's all for this episode. Thank you for listening.